Hello everyone, my name is Megan and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. I hope you guys are doing well and welcome to today's video, which is my September TBR, and it's also Bookoplathon. So, we are going to play Bookopoly. If you have no idea what Bookopoly is, it is essentially a Monopoly game turned into a TBR game by Becca from Becca and the Books, and it's inspired a month-long readathon where Becca creates a board for us to play. We roll a die and then we go around the board and it kind of picks prompts for us to choose our books from. So, this is what's happening. Also, the board actually has more color than this. You will see when I roll, but my printer was not having it. So, it's like a pink and blue board, but it's nicer in actual real life and digitally. I will leave all the information to this readathon in the description if you guys are interested in playing along. And the only rule you really need to know is that if you roll a double, you get an extra roll, which means an extra book is added to your TBR. Now, I will be rolling six times the die in the beginning of this video, and we'll add on if we have extra rolls. Hopefully we don't have too many more because September is also back to school. I'm going back to school for my last year of my degree, so crossing my fingers it isn't too chaotic. And also, if you want to follow along and seeing how I do this month and the books I read, I will be vlogging the entire experience with weekly reading vlogs, and so don't forget to subscribe if you don't want to miss out. Now that all the information is out of the way, let's get rolling. So, here we go. Okay, so the first roll, we've been pretty lucky. It's a good space. It's the prompt to read a small book, which means a book that is less than 300 pages. Now, I do have two options for the specific prompt because I don't know what I'm going to be in the mood for, and because there's already enough stressors in my life, I'm not going to overwhelm myself with restricting to one book for such a easy prompt to fulfill. So here are my two options. My first option is The Girl from the Sea, and this follows a 15-year-old main character who's named Morgan, and Morgan wants to escape the island she's been living on. She just wants to graduate high school and move on with her life. She has been dealing with a lot of things. Her parents are divorcing, she's having a lot of issues with her brother, and on top of that, she feels as though her friends don't really know her because Morgan has a secret, and that secret is that she wants to kiss a girl. And I think this is going to be a graphic novel that is really is a coming-of-age story and explores sexuality. I think it's going to be very interesting, and the art style is beautiful. So this is my first option, and going into a completely different direction, we also have Hex, and this is a book that is set in 1591, and it follows a woman who is prosecuted for being a witch and will be killed, and a woman from the future who I guess comes and has a discussion with this woman. She is from the future and she talks about how women are still being prosecuted today, and that the issue of women's rights is something that we are still battling every day. I heard about this book on Ashley's channel from A Frolic Through Fiction, and it immediately piqued my interest. Even though I'm not super into witchy books, I think that the discussions and the topics in here are something I'm going to really enjoy. I've heard it's very sad, and it's literally like 100 pages long, so it would perfectly fit this prompt. If you have an opinion on which one I should pick up in September, let me know. We then rolled without doubles again, and we hit the building prompt, and for that I will be reading A Show for Two. This is by the author of Counting Down With You, and I absolutely adored that book last year. It was one of my favorites. It was definitely a hit in the debut novel category, in my opinion, and I always try to read diversely, and the author in here is not like me, and the characters aren't either, and I feel that reading about different perspectives and different I guess, issues, and we deal with different things, and it's very interesting to see that perspective in a novel. I loved the writing and the romance in Countdown With You, so I hope that this brings me similar joy and happy vibes. This is about film students, I believe, and the main character has kind of like set this path for herself, and I guess is going to be about learning that life isn't exactly how you plan, and I can't wait to read this book because it's been on my TBR for a little bit. I was supposed to read it when it came out, but here we are, folks. We then, unfortunately, rolled our first double. We got double threes, but it did land us on a fun space, and that is summer. And for that, I will be reading Love on the Brain by Ali Hazelwood, which is the second novel, like full-length novel this author has written after The Love Hypothesis. I really enjoyed The Love Hypothesis, but I think I enjoyed the novellas that she put out afterwards even more, so it's making me even more excited for this book, which follows Bree and Levi, who were academic rivals who now have to work together. I think it's in the physics field, and essentially Bree finds our main male character very attractive, but there has been this rivalry and coldness between both of them. But when all of her things start missing from her lab, Levi kind of sides with her, and they start, I guess, creating maybe a friendship that will evolve into a relationship. But the question is, when it comes time to make a move and put her heart on the line, there is only one question that matters. What will Bee do? Because essentially our main character lives with the mindset of what Marie Curie would do, and I think it's going to add an extra element to this book. I'm very excited. I really like the inclusion of women in STEM, and I feel like Ali Hazelwood does spice very well, and just overall the tension and the feelings are very much portrayed in her writing, so very hyped for this. This is the Waterstones exclusive edition, which reminds me of summer with its colors, so it works for the prompt, guys. We then fell on TBR game, and for this one you can like recreate a TBR game or choose a prompt from someone's TBR game. So what I did is I went to one of my favorite creators, which is Jade from January Reads, and I went to her most recent TBR Pursuit game, which was the August one, and I picked a prompt, and honestly I gave myself a little leeway here, and I picked the wildcard prompt that she got from TBR Pursuit, which means you can basically read anything, and I'm going to be reading Amari and the Great Game, which is a sequel to Amari and the Night Brothers. If you do not know, Amari and the Night Brothers was my favorite book of 2022. It is a middle grade fantasy story that's kind of a mix between Men in Black, Percy Jackson, Nevermore. It is about supernatural investigations. Amari is on a quest to find her brother, and she learns so many things about herself and powers she didn't know she had, and this is a sequel. We left on some pretty significant like news and sort of cliffhangers in the first book, and I have been waiting for an entire year for this book, so there was no way it was not on my September TBR. The book releases August 30th, so I am excited. We then fell on another double, which double threes again. I don't think the number 3 likes me today, but we rolled a fantasy romance, and honestly I was struggling with this at the beginning because I don't read a lot of fantasy, but I have the perfect solution for this. Have I read this yet? No. I am trash. I have not read Kingdom of the Cursed yet by Kiri Maniscalco, which is the sequel to Kingdom of the Wicked. Kingdom of the Feared, which is the third book, comes out at the end of September, so, you know, I should probably read the sequel. This is another witchy story, and it essentially follows Amelia, whose twin was murdered, and she works with one of the 7 princes of hell to kind of discover what happened to her sister. the tension, the writing, the setting, everything about this I love. Carrie Maniscalco is my favorite author, and it's just, I love these books, and they are also veering into a more new adult versus just young adult, so there will be, what I hope, is some spicy content. So I'm crossing my fingers, but this is on the TBR. It's definitely fantasy, and it has romance in it, so I think I win. What a great choice. We then rolled and got multi-perspective, and if you've been here before, you would know multi-POVs are my favorite things in books. Like, for me, it's an immediate win if I have a romance novel with 2 points of views, because, like, the feelings you can get from reading from different point of views, like when you read about a male hero who's, like, so in love with the person, it just makes my heart so happy. So I'm going a little bit out of my comfort zone, but not really with this one. And I'm going to be reading A Million Kisses in Your Lifetime. This is a chunky book. I have a few chunky books on here. It's like 530 something pages. And what I get from this, it's kind of like a bully romance. I don't really know, honestly. I saw this on TikTok a lot of times, and it felt right up my alley. This is a dual perspective about a boy who I think is sort of obsessed with this girl, but he also gives her a hard time, and then they end up falling in love somehow. And it feels like a very obsessive romance, so I don't know how I'm going to feel about it, but I usually don't mind them in books. In real life, it's different, but yeah, that was a terrible synopsis. I don't know much about it, but I've been wanting to read it, and it has different POVs. So, again, it counts. Thank you. Clearly, we can see that I'm a little bit rusty at filming. I haven't filmed a video in a few months, which I'll get into in my vlogs, but I'm sorry for the mess that this TBR is. Now, we then got lowest rated, because obviously that's the one you want to fall on when you have extra rolls. So, roll number 7, lowest rated. I do not have my entire book collection on Goodreads, so what I did is I went through my TBR cart that I recently refreshed. If you want a, like, what's on my immediate TBR video, let me know. But the lowest rated book in that was not a surprise to me. Better Together by Christine Riccio, who is the author of that other book, Again But Better. I really loved Again But Better, even its magical speculative elements. I think I gave that book 4 or 5 stars, and so I got this one, and this one has a 3.4 average on Goodreads, which is not good, but I think I'm going to like this. This really, to me, feels like the tagline. Like, I hope the tagline for this is legit, because it says, Freaky Friday meets The Parent Trap in this sparkling, heartfelt story about 2 sisters who find each other and find themselves. And I'm not going to say too much more about this book because it got me at The Parent Trap, and I love, like, the cover and the idea of this, and I'm assuming it might have speculative magic like Again But Better did, and if it does, I'm assuming I'm going to be the unpopular opinion, and I'm probably going to love this book. And the last prompt we got, because we did not roll any more doubles, thank God, is text and patterns. So it's essentially a book cover that is mostly filled with text or patterns, and for that I'm going to go with Wait For It by Mariana Zapata, because why not put another hella chunky book on my TBR. I think this is about a single mom, but not, like, I think she inherited or got given children, and I don't know what context, but I don't really know much about it. I'm trying to read all of Mariana Zapata's books, and clearly the main focus of the cover is the text. terrible job at explaining it, but it says Diana Casillas can admit it. She doesn't know what the hell she's doing half the time. How she's made it through the last 2 years of her life without killing anyone is nothing short of a miracle. Being a grown-up wasn't supposed to be this hard. Relatable. With a new house, 2 little boys she inherited the most painful way possible, a giant dog, a job she usually loves, more than enough family and friends. She has almost everything she could ever ask for, except for a boyfriend or a husband. But who needs either of those? I think I'm going to love this. I have loved what I've read from Mariana Zapata so far. I got interrupted. I don't remember what I was saying, but this will be on my TBR. However, I do want to say that if I don't have time for a 600-page book on top of all of these, I might switch this for The Final Gambit by Jennifer Lynn Barnes, which is the last book in the Inheritance Game series, which I absolutely freaking loved that series. I love Jennifer Lynn Barnes with all my heart. And the last book is also coming out on August 30th, and I want to get to it. And I feel like there's a lot of text in that cover, so it wouldn't be too much cheating. So that might be switched out. I don't really know yet. You'll have to stick around with the vlogs to figure it out. I do also want to get to Lower Olympus Volume 2 if I have the time. That would be great. And I'm still reading the second book in the Malzahn series, which is Dead House Gates. I'm probably not going to finish that in September. It's going to take a while, but I'm still kind of reading those things as well, and would like to get through some of them this month. So, let me recap this freaking insane TBR for y'all. I don't even want to count how many pages, because I would like to pretend that I can read all of them. Will it happen? Ugh. Why? Why am I... Of course, this is a realistic stack when you've just come out of a reading slump. Anywho, thank you for watching, wish me luck, and don't forget to tune in to this month's vlogs if you want to see my thoughts on, hopefully, all of these books. Bye guys, happy reading!